Okay, so here's day two. I had two guitars from a customer. The first one was this LTD, which I've already filmed the progress on. It has been all set up with Ernie Ball, not even slinky 12s, optimal for detuning. This is in a drop C tuning, and the action is good. It is like level all the way across. It has been intonated. It has been polished. The fret ends are nice and smooth. We had one tuner. He had the tuning key was missing. I was hoping I could replace just the tuning key, but it turns out that the keys I had were not going to fit these LTD tuners, so I just had to replace the whole tuner. I'm not charging him for it. I got a bunch of these style tuners. It's fine. The original tuner is going to be in his guitar case, so that he has it in case in the future he ever wants to, if he can find the right tuning key, he'll have a matching set of tuners. Honestly, I hope what he does in the future, if he continues to keep this, play and keep this guitar, I hope that he upgrades the tuners to like maybe a locking set of tuners. We put deoxit in the potentiometers. He has the tone knob is split, so we got deoxit in there so that they're not scratchy. This guitar is all set up and ready. It looks really pretty. Again, I polished it, I waxed it, front and back. He had some damage, I noticed, when I flipped it over yesterday, right here. So it was hard to polish it. I had to polish in this motion, not clockwise. I had to polish counterclockwise so that the cloth went over the damage, because if I went clockwise, it would have snagged on the cloth. So I worked around it. That's fine. Other than that, it is a great guitar. It's been set up. I had to, on the lower three strings, I had to take the strings and just kind of work them into the nut slot a little bit just to open up the slot, because these strings were bigger than the previous. So after I opened up the slots, I added graphite into the slots so that they would be able to have a little bit of movement if he's doing any kind of bends. But other than that, this one's done. Now the next one is this beautiful Epiphone bass. I love this thing. It is a sparkly olive army green color. I mean, this thing looks like it's out of the 60s, but it's not. And what he wants to do with that is we're going to do a setup. And again, he's adding some larger gauge strings. So we went with the beefy, slinky bass. And this is also going to be in a drop C tuning. So I'm going to have to do the same thing. I'm going to have to open up the nut slots a little bit more. And we got quite the angle, going on with this string action. As it gets higher up the neck, the strings are higher. So we're going to try to make some adjustments to that. It's going to be a little bit harder because the larger string gauge, but we're gonna make some adjustments and get this thing looking and playing awesome. So let's get to it. one was a little bit harder to figure out because it's a bass with 130 through 65 through 130 gauge strings, beefy, slinky bass strings. That fourth string is so big it doesn't sit in the saddle, in the tail, as well as the others. I'm sure I don't want to modify his bass, this guy's bass, without checking with him first. I'm sure there's a way I could probably loosen the string, take it out, and screwdriver, just pry open the opening just enough for it to sit in there better. I'm not going to do that without him, without his knowledge, or I'm not going to modify or potentially ruin his tailpiece. But it's sitting there. It's caught in the tension. We're good. This is in drop C, so we're at C, G, C, F, and it's a monster, man. These strings are no joke. They got to be a little bit higher. I wish I could get the action lower, but with such beefy strings and it being detuned, they're floppy. So I have to have the action a little bit higher. I mean, I lowered the bridge quite a bit from where it was prior, but still, with how floppy, because of the detuning and how big these strings are, they got to be raised a little bit. Otherwise, when you get past kind of the 12th fret, you're going to start getting string buzz. And I leveled the frets, so they're all leveled. I went over every single fret with the fret rocker and took care of the ones that were giving me buzz. But even so, at such a large string gauge, the notes are ringing out, but there's a little bit of rattle, just because, any higher, and if I raise the action any higher to get rid of all the little bit of fret kiss, to get rid of the fret kiss, your action is going to be really high up here, and it's potentially going to start taking things out of intonation because the distance that you're making the string travel to get to the fret. So, there's things to be said about large string gauges, detuning, and the workarounds that you have to get to make it work. The note's ringing out. As a matter of fact, let's plug it in, and you'll hear the note is ringing out, but there's just acoustically, there's a little bit of rattle, a little bit of buzz. The note rings out. Not that he's going to be playing bass this high, and when he does, it'll work. The note is going to ring out. But so we are in as good of shape as we can be with detuning and such thick strings. Again, any higher, it's gonna potentially make your notes be slightly out of intonation. Any lower, and you're gonna rattle like crazy and get buzz and dead notes. I got him as high as I could, or I'm sorry, as low as I could without having dead notes. Still a little bit of rattle, and there's some travel, and the neck was straight. But I think that's just enough travel for such large strings and in the tuning that it's in. All that's left to do is I'm just going to polish it up some more. Now that everything's done, I gave it a wipe down and like a light polishing, but now it's time to polish the guitar a little bit more and put some of that body gloss, cream of carnauba, stuff that smells like banana cream. So good. But we're gonna make it shiny, so we'll get to that. Done with it. This bass is sick. I keep saying it. I just love it. It is gorgeous. It has these sweet retro knobs. It has the little like arrow indicator on them. I mean, it's kind of a useless thing, but it adds to the aesthetic. I mean, this thing just looks like it popped right out of the 60s. I don't know the history of this model bass. It might be an old model from the 60s, but I just love it. The colors, the shape, it's kick-ass. So the bass is finished. 65 through 130. Drop C. And same with this guitar here. We got 12s. 12 through 56. Drop C, and all complete. I'm going to start working on customer receipt of just the things I did to it. Basic setup, really. Not much that I did to either of them, other than taking care of frets, you know, fret levels and things like that. So setup, strings, I had to replace one of the tuners on the guitar. Put this in his guitar case so he has it. Other than that, man, that was it. It's very straightforward. These were two awesome instruments to work on, and I hope that kid can tell the difference when he's playing it. And yeah, man, it's always a good feeling to be happy with your work when it's done. It's rewarding, but I still have to make sure that the customer is happy, and then that's when I'll fully be rewarded. You know, that's when I know that I did a good job. I can sit here and be happy with it based on my knowledge, you know, of things, but I'm not going to be the one that's playing it every day. I'm not going to be the one who has it in his hands and is feeling things over time. So when the kid's happy, then I'll be happy. And when you know, I told him, you know, if you feel something later on that you want adjusted, let me know. It's free of charge. You know, I'm catering the setup to you, you know, and there might be things that you don't feel for, you know, or think about for a couple days, you know, or so. So, yeah, I'm stoked on this one. There's a little bit of something there. What is that? There we go. little smudge. Let's buff it out. Done. All right. Thanks for joining me, and see you next time.